With 2.1% growth
Number of last.
The employment rate in the Philippines climbed to 96%.
Hello and welcome everyone to Hustle and Flow, the podcast where we talk about the real struggles of work, business, and making a living. My name is Dana.
I'm Alexa.
And I'm Zara.
Let's be honest, have you ever felt like no matter how hard you work, it's still not enough?
Like you're stuck in a cycle of working long hours, earning little, and barely keeping up?
Or maybe you know someone who can't even find a job in the first place.
If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And that's exactly what we're talking about today.
This issue connects to United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 8, or SDG 8, which is all about decent work and economic growth. But don't worry, we're not here to throw complicated facts at you.
Nope, we're here to keep it real, share stories, and figure out why earning a decent living is so hard, and what we can do about it.
We've talked to real people, workers, business owners, even our own friends, who know firsthand what it's like to struggle.
And if you've ever asked yourself, why is success so hard to reach? This episode is for you.
So sit back, tune in, and let's dive in.
But before we jump into the struggles people face, let's take a step back and understand the bigger picture.
So, what exactly is SDG 8? In simple words, it's a global goal to make sure that people have good jobs, fair wages, and economic stability. It's about creating work opportunities without exploitation and helping businesses, big and small, grow in a fair way.
And why is this so important? Let's talk numbers. According to reports, about 208 million people worldwide were unemployed in 2023. That's millions of people struggling to find stable work.
And even those who have jobs aren't always earning enough. In many countries, the minimum wage isn't enough to cover basic needs like food, rent, and healthcare. That's why people work multiple jobs yet still struggle financially.
Another big issue? Job inequality. Women, people with disabilities, and marginalized communities often earn less and have lower opportunities.
And let's not forget young people. Many fresh graduates struggle to find jobs because companies want experience. But how can they get experience if no one hires them?
Exactly. That's why SDG 8 exists, to make sure everyone has a fair shot at success. But, as we will see in this episode, there are a lot of challenges standing in the way. So let's start with a simple question. Why do so many people work hard, yet still struggle financially?
We always hear, work hard and you'll succeed. But is that really true for everyone?
In reality, many people work long hours, but still don't earn enough for a decent life. Some work 10 to 12 hours a day, yet can barely afford rent or groceries. This is because of, first, low wages. Second, not enough job opportunities. And third, unfair working conditions.
And to make it more real, we spoke with Sophia, who has first-hand experience with these struggles. Sophia, can you share a story with us?
Of course, I know someone who just graduated and applied to dozens of jobs. Guess how many responded? Just one. And the offer? Minimum wage with an excessive workload.
Now that's a major issue. High expectations, low pay.
And let's be honest, finding a job today feels like online dating. You send out applications, but barely get a match.
Exactly. And even when you do get a job, there's another problem. Unfair wages. Some people work 12-hour shifts yet earn below the minimum wage, with no benefits, no job security. It's like they're disposable.
That's why contractual employment is a huge concern. Many workers don't have job stability.
And it's not just workers. Small businesses are struggling too. Hart, your family went through this, right?
Yes. My uncle had a food stall. It was doing well at first, but rent kept increasing. The big businesses started offering discounts, and customers went to them instead. Eventually, he had to close the stall.
That's heartbreaking. It shows how small businesses struggle against corporate competition and economic instability.
These problems are exactly why SDG 8 exists, to promote fair wages, stable jobs, and support businesses.
Now that we've talked about the problems, let's break down what's causing them.
First, lack of job opportunities. Companies want experienced workers, but fresh graduates don't have experience yet. So, where are they supposed to start?
Second, low wages. The cost of living keep rising, but salaries don't keep up.
Third, businesses struggling to survive. Many small businesses don't have enough support to grow.
And let's not forget about automation and AI. While technology helps, it's also replacing human jobs. Arthur, you've seen this happening, right?
Yes, especially in the tech industry, wherein many jobs that used to be done by people now are now automated.
That's why we need to balance innovation with creation.
Okay, we're not here to just talk about problems. We need solutions.
That's right. If we want to improve work conditions and economic growth, we need real changes.
So let's break it down. What needs to change?
First, fair wages. This means making sure people earn enough to live comfortably.
That's why governments and companies need to step up. Laws should increase minimum wages to match the cost of living, and companies should prioritize workers, not just profits.
And it's not just about wages, it's also about better working conditions. No one should be overworked, underpaid, or forced into unfair contracts.
I've seen these firsthand. Some of my friends took jobs way below their qualifications just because they needed money. They do so much work, but their pay barely covers their basic expenses. That's why wage transparency is important. Employees should know if they're being paid fairly.
That's a great point. In some companies, salaries are a secret, so people don't even realize they're being underpaid.
That's why labor laws need to be stronger. Companies should provide proper benefits, fair wages, and reasonable working hours.
Next, let's talk about small businesses. We've seen how they struggle, but they actually super important for the economy.
Did you know that small and medium-sized businesses create about 90% of jobs worldwide?
Exactly. But it's hard for them to survive when rent is high. Big businesses offer discounts, and the government doesn't give enough support. My uncle tried applying for loans, but the interest rates were too high. If small businesses had easier access to funding, many wouldn't have to close down.
That's why low-interest loans, grants, and business training programs are so important.
And let's not forget community support. If we choose to buy small businesses, we help them grow and keep jobs in the community.
Another big solution is education and skill building. Because let's be real, school doesn't always prepare us for real jobs.
That's right. Many fresh graduates don't have practical skills, so they struggle to find work.
In the tech industry, companies are hiring people based on skills, not just degrees.
And for people in traditional jobs, upskilling is important too. If industries are changing, workers should have access to free training to help them switch careers if needed.
So now we know the problems and the big solutions. But the next question is, what we can do as individuals?
That's right. We might not control government policies or run big companies, but we can still make a difference in our own ways.
The first thing we can do is support local businesses. Every time you choose to buy from a small shop instead of a big company, you're helping someone sustain their livelihood.
Yes, I've seen how much it helps. Some small business owners barely make enough to cover their costs each month.
Exactly. I actually know someone who runs a small bakery. During the pandemic, their sales dropped and they were close to shutting down. But the community started supporting them by ordering online and spreading the word. It kept them going. Now they've grown and even hired 2 more employees. It shows that when we support small businesses, we help create jobs and keep money flowing in our local economy.
That's a great point, Arthur. Imagine if more people made the choice to buy locally. Small businesses would have more income, stay open longer, and even create job opportunities for others. It's a simple choice, but it can have a big impact.
The second thing we can do is keep learning. The job market is always changing, and the best way to keep up is to adopt and grow your skills.
And let's not forget the power of networking. Sometimes who you know is just as important as what you know. Going to workshops, internships, or even virtual events can help you meet people who can open doors to new opportunities.
That's true. I've experienced that myself. When I was looking for an internship, I attended a free online seminar. I met a speaker there who connected with me, someone hiring in their company. That small connection led me to a real job opportunity. So don't underestimate the value of making new connections.
And don't be afraid to explore alternative career paths. You don't have to stick to one type of job if it's not working for you. There are many ways to earn a living today, like freelancing, starting an online business, or learning a trade. The important thing is to stay open to new possibilities.
The third thing we need to do is spread awareness. The more that we talk about this issue, the more we push for real change.
Yes, and social media is a powerful tool for this. When more people speak up online, governments and companies start to pay attention.
Exactly. Social media isn't just for entertainment. It can be used to push for positive change. For example, when people post about unfair labor practices or poor working conditions, companies sometimes respond because they don't want to lose customers. If enough people demand fair wages or better treatment for employees, companies are pressured to improve their policies.
That's so true. And even if we feel like our individual efforts are small, they add up. If more people share posts, sign petitions, or join campaigns, it creates a bigger voice that can't be ignored.
And it's not just about posting. It's also about having real conversations with the people around us. Talk to your family and friends about these issues. The more we discuss them, the more awareness we build.
Yes, and even the simple act of supporting ethical businesses, like companies that treat their workers fairly or use sustainable practices, can create positive change.
Right. Every small action counts.
So while we might not be able to fix everything overnight, every little effort matters.
Alright, so what did we learn today?
First, hard work alone isn't enough. We need fair wages, stable jobs, and better opportunities for everyone.
Second, small businesses matters. When we support them, we support jobs, families, and communities.
And third, the world is changing, and so should we. Learning new skills, speaking up, and pushing for change can make a real difference.
If there's one thing to remember from today's episode, it's this. Success shouldn't be just for a lucky few. Everyone deserves a fair shot.
And change doesn't happen overnight, but every step counts. Even small actions, shopping local, learning a new skill, or raising awareness can add up.
So, let's keep the conversation going. Keep learning, keep pushing, and keep hustling and flowing.
And stay with us for more deep dives into life, work, and everything in between.
Until next time, keep striving, keep learning, and most of all, keep going.